Follow me.
You need to see something special. All the world is made of stories, and all of those stories are right here in the Book of Life. But the greatest story begins on the Day of the Dead. A day when spirits pass between worlds and anything can happen.
Look there. Two best.
Long ago in a distant land, I, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior wielding a magic sword stepped forth to oppose me. Before the final blow was struck, I tore open a portal in time and flung him into the future, where my evil is law. Now the fool seeks to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku.
Gotta do that, back to the past, samurai jack. Gotta do that, back to the past, samurai jack. Jack. Gotta do that, back to the past, samurai jack. Gotta do that, back to the past, samurai jack. Jack. Gotta do that, jack. Gotta do that, jack. Samurai jack.
If you complete these tasks,
You will see Maria again.
Hey, girl. Get that a lot? The Book of Life.
Hold it! I know exactly what to play! You got what I need!
Wow, that totally captivated her.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Two Top Hats. We didn't do Action Jackson this week. We were going to, but we wanted to talk about a movie that's actually, good. So before we get started, I'd like to say that our next video will not be until somewhere between the 3rd and 5th of June. We were having a little bit of we're changing plans with Adobe, and just for payment reasons, we want to have it at the beginning of the month, so we won't have the editing software, so we won't be able to make videos. But so now we're going to talk about the Book of Life, what did you think?
I'm the red one.
Oh yeah. We'll just skip that. We had a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Having seen parts of it already, what I've seen I really enjoyed. But having seen all of it, I really enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I had seen... I missed, the first beginning bit when I first saw it. And then I missed, the end 45 minutes or something like that. Yeah, as a whole, it's really good. And as just parts, it's really good, too. It works.
How I'm planning on doing this, at least to my understanding, is we'll just kind of talk about some things we really liked about the movie without spoilers, because as opposed to bad movies, we actually want you to go out and watch good movies to enjoy them. So
we could do it without spoilers, or we could put a big spoiler warning.
I don't think we should do spoilers. Let's just give people reasons why they should watch it.
We won't give major spoilers because there are some. I have a couple concessions, things that I didn't really like. You already know one of them, and one of them kind of involves a mini spoiler. And I'll just get that out of the way right now so we can I can just say part of what I didn't like, and then we can just talk about what we like. So, first of all, we'd actually advise you kind of see the movie. We did play, we kind of played the trailer, but not really. The basic story, again without spoilers, is there's a framing device, but that's not really the story. So there are like two gods basically. I cannot for the life of me remember their names.
La Muerte.
Well, La Muerte is one. Excuse me, he doesn't speak Spanish. I do.
Excuse me.
Well, that was wrong.
Baka.
Okay, well, Japanese is not relevant. And so they decide to make a bet, because there are two boys, like they're young boys at the time, and
they're fighting over this girl.
Yeah, this girl, and so they each La Muerte, who's like good, and so all right, she rules over the land of the forgotten, so like remembered, I mean. And so when
the other god rules over the land of the forgotten,
yeah.
He's a horrible cheater.
Yeah. So when you die, when you're dead, as long as people are alive that remember you, you get to be in the land of the remembered, which is like Party Town.
The land of forgotten's like sucky, brimstone, empty.
It's just like wasteland. And that's if no one's alive to remember you, and that's kind of important.
So they make the bet over which of these boys is going to get the girl because they're gods. They have nothing better to do.
Yeah, just read Greek mythology, and
Yes, but of course the evil god, which looks like a mixture of Aku and Discord.
Yeah, that's why we did the Samurai Jack thing.
Yes, Aku, of course, from the cartoon Samurai Jack and Discord.
In case
another show.
Yeah, in case you started watching this video and were very confused, that's the explanation, because we did that with Judge Dredd. That was probably a little bit more obvious, but so that's what we did. Because the opening narration is by him.
So without spoilers, guy cheats.
No. Let's go a little bit more in depth just to kind of get the idea of this right. So, we just won't spoil it.
All right.
So, basically, what happens is, the guy who the dirty cheater is played by Ron Perlman. The guy who he wants is a huge douchebag, voiced by Channing Tatum, which is a weird choice. It takes place in Mexico, and I maybe they wanted recognition or something, but he cannot do an accent. He kind of tries. So they're children, and then the girl moves off to Spain. Then it goes to where they're all grown up, and she moves, and she comes back on visit, and they're grown up. So Joaquin, who's played by Channing Tatum, he's the character I really have a problem with, because he's just a big douchebag. And also, he kind of does an accent for about 10 seconds and then just stops.
Drops it for
the rest of the movie, which was weird. I don't know. He's just... So, Ron Perlman cheats and gives Channing Tatum, or Joaquin, this medal, the Medal of Everlasting Life. So basically, he can't be harmed or anything like that. And that's how that's when they're children. So he just grows up, is this big, hero, and everyone wants to suck him off and stuff.
And then the other kid,
Manolo, he was raised as his father to be a bullfighter, but he wants to do music basically. So already Ron Perlman has cheated, and we're 5 minutes into the actual plot of the movie, I guess it's the actual plot of the movie.
And basically
by giving him the medal so that everyone loves him. And so she comes back, and Manolo, the other kid, he has a bullfight, but he thinks it's wrong to actually kill the bull. So he says it's wrong, and he refuses to do it. And Maria, the girl, likes that. And everyone else hates him for it, and he gets disowned by his father. Then, so now they have a big dick measuring contest for her.
But basically, it just ends up with Maria goes with, of course, the person who she actually loves.
Yeah, and it's very likely that she's going to go with Manolo.
Yes.
So Ron Perlman decides to, and not spoiling anything, basically he tricks Manolo into killing himself.
Yeah, basically going into...
That's not a spoiler. That's
the land of the Remembered.
Yeah, so he kind of tricks him into killing himself. And so he ends up in the land of the Remembered and he's looking for Maria.
And the rest of the plot...
is spoiled. So, and basically he's looking for her. At the same time, basically they're like, oh, Joaquin is here to protect us. But there's like this bandit guy, Chacal, and he knows about the Medal of Everlasting Life because he's had it. So he finds out that Joaquin has it, and then they're going to have a huge attack. And they're like, we're safe because of him. No, you're not.
Yeah. So that sets up basically all you need to know for the plot.
So I'm gonna talk about Joaquin briefly.
And I'll talk about what I thought. Okay.
This is what I didn't like is Joaquin. It's not really his fault. Like, I don't know. He's an asshole. And they kind of try to make it like he's being like just teasing or whatever the hell. But it just comes off as him being an asshole. Now, it did drive me nuts like the whole movie. It did not stop me from enjoying the movie. It's still a fantastic movie, even with him. Like Judge Dredd, Rob Schneider ruined it for me. I hate Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider did in fact ruin that movie.
Yeah.
Which is why this is why the 2012 remake, not even remake, more just
do it better.
Was done better.
It did not have Rob Schneider's character. It did not have the stupid story.
And it also did have Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. So I'd like to say it isn't like that. It didn't ruin really anything for me. It's just... And, it may have just kind of been used to have, the audience like Manolo more. And that's fine. It was just a little over the top with it. I don't know. Would you agree with those just a little much, like him being an asshole?
Yeah, and I thought that the like you said with the whole dropping accent thing, I think it was a miscast, really. Like,
yeah, I don't think he was right for the role.
Considering he's the only person in the movie who doesn't do an accent, it doesn't make sense.
And there's a little bit of inconsistency with the accent. Maria is a little like that, but whatever. Just my issue is with his personality, though, and that's a writing problem, and a little bit of delivery. Like he's just arrogant, which makes sense because he can't be harmed. Whatever. So, there's actually, and we're gonna play some clips at the end because we think it's hilarious. One of the clips was when he first gets the medal. There's like a giant pig stampede, and there's just a giant boar. He just runs in front of it and just slams into him, and he just like slides like 30 feet, and he's fine.
Yeah, he's basically like superhero proportions of powers, and no one even doubts that.
Yeah,
which is kind of odd.
They're just like, yeah. So, and yeah, like there's one part where he's like showing off to Maria like how many medals he has, and he only says we can only hear what 2 of them are, but he's like covered with them, which has to be restrictive in some way. But it's like, oh yeah, this medal was for delivering a baby with one arm while arm wrestling a bear with the other, and the other one was for having the most medals. And you're really supposed to hate him because that's so douchey.
But then they really try to make you like him at the end.
Yeah, and
it kind of backfires.
Well, it doesn't. I don't think I was going to get to that. I don't think it actually backfires. They do redeem him well enough in the end. He does act very selflessly.
Well, I think the main problem is for at least the first half of the movie, he is supposed to be the main antagonist.
Yes,
because we're not really introduced. We are introduced to the cheating god, but
who becomes the primary
He becomes
antagonist.
the primary antagonist
Well,
slash the bandit.
No,
leader.
yeah, because he's kind of like the climax of the movie is when he comes to invade. So it's a little. It depends on where you are in the movie, really, because they do kind of play his cheating off as more playful. Because if you think about it, they are gods after all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my issue with him, and like I said, they did redeem him in the end. So really, it's not much of an issue. It's just when I'm watching the movie, I'm like, this guy's a dick.
All right.
So that's it. Do you have anything you didn't really like?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that.
My biggest gripe with this movie is I don't think it was long enough. To be honest,
Really?
I think that it took so long for them to set up the big set pieces and everything that when you finally got to them, there wasn't enough payoff. Like, you barely got to see any of the really cool stuff where all the budget went. And I think that's a combination of there's a lot of focal points on setting up the plot. Like, setting up the plot is half the movie. Like, what we explained to you, which was just, not even spoiling anything, just setting up the plot, that is halfway through the movie.
Yeah, like one of the really big spoilers for me is part of what makes it really messed up. Of how Ron Perlman's character tricked Manolo into killing himself.
Yeah.
That like when that's revealed, it's super messed up. That's a really big spoiler, and then just what happens in the climax, I guess, could also be a big spoiler. But like, you cannot know anything that happens after like maybe a couple minutes after he gets to the land of the remembered, because then you find out some other stuff that basically motivates Manolo for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and it back on my point of
so what we said is really the setup.
Yeah, back on the point of not having enough time. I remember seeing stuff about this movie just because. Okay, I wanted to wait to establish this, but it kind of ties in my point. This is a beautiful movie.
It is so beautiful.
It's like the best animation I've ever seen.
I'd say so too.
It's definitely the shining point of this movie is the animation.
It is beautiful.
The story's good, but the animation's the best part.
The story's good. There's a couple moments where it's just like so good. Like there's like, I agree. There's not a lot of the good stuff, but like there are some really satisfying moments.
Yeah, and
some really satisfying.
Tying
moments.
back into that, the primary thing about this movie that's so great, being how good the animation looks, is I know for a fact from watching stuff about this movie prior to seeing it, just on my own time, this movie cost a buttload of money to make.
Did it?
Yes, because the animation is so good. It took,
and
it's
3D.
Yeah,
that's
it's 3D. So it was extremely expensive. It took so long to do all that
and
stuff. They didn't actually have enough time to really develop all that stuff because it would have cost them so much more. So
that can be kind of
that's kind of the reason why a lot of the really cooler set pieces aren't delved into that much.
Yeah, which there are some really amazing set pieces, really cool. Like you're talking a lot of in the Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
I agree that there's not a lot. They could have spent more time, but I feel like they still spend a satisfying amount of time. When they moved away from that, it made sense. And when they moved from place to place, it made sense. But I could see it being a little longer. I'm pretty sure the movie's like an hour and 40 minutes, so it's not really
not short.
It's not but it's not too long.
It feels shorter just because of how long it takes to set up the main con.
Part of me though, what maybe a preference for me, I don't know, is that I like something to make a point and then move on, you know. And that's a lot like how I'll do stuff. Like, if I'm saying something, I'm gonna make my point, and then that's it, and then I'm done. So I feel like rather than like showing off like, oh, we have this cool thing, and now we're just gonna do it for an hour or more, or however long, you know, just because we want to show it off. Like, I feel like you run the risk of
boring.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, well, can you move on?
It's like Avatar, not The Last Airbender, but actual James Cameron Avatar is a great example.
Yeah,
of that.
they really jerked themselves off.
There are some points in that movie where they, like you said, they do in fact joke themselves off, where they display the set pieces for what, in my opinion, is way too long, and it slows down the movie. I think you're right. There needs to be a balance.
Yes.
I think they could have gone a little longer, but not much. I don't want it to be way longer.
So, for the sake of pacing, how would you see it?
Pretty good. Could be a little bit better. I think the pacing is only a little bit off. Not
only like and like we said, it doesn't spoil the movie in any way.
It's just
a little off-putting, and then it's fine. Same thing with Joaquin. So. Do you have anything else that kind of bugged you?
No, I think we covered that.
So now we can move on to what we liked, and we kind of talked about a lot of it. Like, a lot of it for me was the aesthetic. It is a beautiful movie, and you can see it. Like, we played clips at the beginning, and we're gonna play some at the end, and you can just kind of see, especially in. Because when we played at the beginning, we played the trailer, which isn't very obvious because there's audio over most of it.
But you can still see.
Yeah, it shows a lot of the aesthetic.
Even though we make our awful Aku reference joke.
Yeah, but you can still see a lot, because they show off a lot of the aesthetic, because like you said, it probably costs a lot of money. But yeah, it's like, and I also like that they don't treat a lot of the really pretty parts like they're more than the parts that aren't. So no, like, it's not like, whoa, look, whoa.
It is for a little bit, but it feels relevant.
Yes.
How I think it should work is you should feel just as odd as the characters, and it should last for about as long as the characters feel it and then you get back on the main plot.
Avatar did that too.
Avatar.
Like, it's like he's like, whoa, it's a different planet or moon or whatever the hell it was. And then it's like, and then he's already bored, and they're still showing crap off.
Yeah, and they're still showing crap off, and he's like, whoa, I know this now, whoa.
Yeah.
And it just gets kind of... Yeah.
So you're talking about, like, where they do show off the Land of the Dead, or the Land of the Remembered, I mean, when Manola first gets there, right?
Yeah, and that,
so when he first
totally
gets there,
that.
But it's not even like they don't even show it off that much.
Yeah.
It's like, he goes there, they get like one quick establishing shot, or I don't know if it's like a quick pan almost, and then like he meets like his family, and they're all like relevant characters, like his dead family. It's not like they're just like, oh look, more characters. This isn't Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's kind of like Meet the Robinsons, if you've ever seen that movie.
Yes.
It only minor. I think Meet the Robinsons suffers from this more than this movie does, but there's a very little bit of like undeveloped character syndrome where there's all these cool characters and you want to know more, but there's not tons of them. I think they do a better job of it in this movie than say Meet the Robinsons, but I think there could be a little more.
I've seen that complaint about Meet the Robinsons where they just kind of showed some characters and then just didn't talk about them, because at least in the Book of Life they do just more than just show off the characters. Like, they have them develop a little bit or do something important or do some, it's not like they just show them off like Meet the Robinsons.
Well, that's all I can really think. I already established my big point, which was just how beautiful this movie is. Even if you don't care about plot, this movie is just see it for the aesthetic.
And if you do care about plot,
The plot's good.
It's still good.
It's an entertaining movie.
It's very
It's
entertaining.
not like groundbreaking or anything,
no,
but it's a very
no.
entertaining movie. You will not be bored watching it.
The humor is really good.
Yeah, most of the humor is
And
pretty,
we just recently read a book about it, so we can.
Yeah, the humor is pretty spot on. I mean, there's not really cringy stuff. Like,
no, it doesn't go over.
No, that's a lot of animated movies kind of go overboard.
They
with
try to be
comedy.
too funny.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. This movie, it feels like a good balance of humor.
This movie has a lot of humor. It's not like, yeah, it has a lot, but it never feels like too much. It doesn't feel like they're making a joke at a wrong time, or they're making an inappropriate joke like that doesn't make any sense,
or it's
anything
just
like
a
that.
stupid joke that's not funny. There's not
no.
really any of that.
Like most of the jokes land, and it's like at least a little chuckle or something.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
And part of it, so it does take place in Mexico, and the accents, yeah, it's a little weird, but I don't have a problem with it. One thing I'm glad they didn't do is, they do sometimes say things in Spanish, but
It's not too much.
no, it's not like, because I feel like, if you're going to speak a language, just speak that language. But, if you look at people who speak Spanish, they will throw Spanish words in there sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of a cultural thing.
And in speaking Spanish, if that's what they're speaking, they will throw English words in. That's part of the I don't know if it's the culture, but that is something I've noticed.
It's just something that they kind
Yeah.
of do.
So, like saying, mi amor and stuff like that just sort of makes sense. So it's not like they're just speaking Spanish to be like, hey, remember we're in Mexico?
Yeah, remember this is a movie about Mexico?
And,
Yeah.
I think I have one more thing, which, they do have a framing device. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like in The Princess Bride, which I do want to talk about to compare, where it's, Fred Savage and, like, the grandpa, and, like, they're talking. Here's the difference. The framing device in the Book of Life is still entertaining. It breaks up the story a little bit, which is fine, It kind of, like, addresses how the audience is feeling at a given point.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessary,
No.
but at the same time, I don't think it detracted from the movie at
No,
all.
it's not like distracting, and that's why I want to compare it to The Princess Bride, where, like, Fred Savage is just a jackass, and also the movie's happening. He just, like, interrupts in the middle of things, and the grandpa's like, do you want me to keep reading? Or whatever. It's not like that at all. Which, I guess it's still relatively entertaining in The Princess Bride, but that's not really how the movie works.
It
doesn't
wouldn't have had a
fit.
place here.
And
Yeah.
And at the end, it also ties in to the movie. So also, it's not like The Princess Bride where it has absolutely nothing to do with anything. Like there is a tie-in, and I like that. I like things to be related, if that makes sense.
So we're getting pretty far in here.
Yeah.
I think how we're going to do this from now on is actually movies that qualify as good, or maybe if we have a movie that we think is bad that's actually good, we'll kind of give it like a little short little rating system or something. So like for this movie, how likely would you recommend it for someone to watch? Like not very likely, not likely at all, don't watch it, very likely, definitely watch it. Stuff like that.
So I would recommend this movie very highly. There are some movies that I would maybe only recommend to people that I know well, where I have to know if they like it. But if you have a sense of humor and you like aesthetic and you can enjoy a good plot and and all that, which I think everyone can. There's something for just about everyone in the movie.
Yeah.
So I would recommend this to just about anyone.
I would as well. this come for the visuals, stay for the story.
Yes.
That's a
yes.
good way to sum it up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Too. So yeah, I guess we can start wrapping up.
And if don't worry, we will be back to talk about horrible things.
Yes, and stupid things. Here's how it will work. We're gonna hit the ground running a little bit. So at the beginning of June, we'll start with Action Jackson. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a movie, and then talk about non-movie each week. And it'll either be a bad movie or a good movie.
It kind of depends on how we feel.
Yeah, we'll try to do mainly bad movies because those are, more fun to talk about. Well, I don't know. I mean, it can depend. I think this was a fun.
I think
one to
people
make.
more enjoy bad movies.
Yeah, that's where the real.
I don't mean
money
I
is.
mean people talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And yeah, so that's how it's gonna work. And so the first week of June is when we will be back. So that will do it for this video. All of the ending stuff. We can ask you to subscribe if you'd like, but we know that doesn't do anything.
As we previously established.
But we have to, so we're gonna do it anyway. If we would really appreciate if you send stupid things our way, people, movies, anything.
They're stupid all the time, and there's always been stupid.
Yes. So if you just show it to us, and we will look at it and put it in a video, likely. Any of that, our Twitter, you've been staring at it the whole time, because I actually put it in the backdrop. And all of the links to all that good stuff to support us and all of that are in the description. And do you have anything to say?
This has been the Blue Hat,
Yes,
and I've been the Red One.
Yep. And we will see you in a couple of weeks.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.